used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk Today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome. Thanks very much for joining us, and we get a chance to continue our extended partnership with our friends over at Cayman Enterprise City in the Special Economic Zone. And as we talk more and more about the good things happening there, today we'll focus on artificial intelligence. I might even make a joke, as my friend Sam says, but I'll tell you about that when we come back. You want to hear it? So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard.
And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. And they say the more things change, the more they stay the same. Well, change, they also tell us, they're only constant. Well, thanks to Miss Caitlin Elphinstone, Charlie Kirkconnell, and those over at Cayman Enterprise. Welcome. Good to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you too.
They say knowledge, is empowering, equalizing. Education is that thing that brings us to the table with a sense of presence of mind, a confidence, a conviction, and it's good to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so excited. We have so many really cool projects that are happening within the special economic zones right here in Cayman. And we love to be able to share that knowledge, be able to diffuse it into the local economy and get others inspired by it as well.
And that's the one good thing I believe that in Cayman that makes it almost seemingly like it's at our fingertips. It doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter who it is. With little or no effort, we can access, we can engage in a conversation. We can come away with either a reminder of what we are, who we are, where we are, but also an inspiration. Miss Caitlin, if you would, I just share with the listeners that our guest Ian Gilmore reminded us, 18 months ago, thereabouts, you were here with us, right? And I didn't remember. And for some reason, since 2020, a day seems like a year. What was yesterday? I have to stop and go, was that really yesterday? Are you sure that was in a century ago? And I don't know, maybe we can talk about that. Maybe there's an app for that. But would you introduce Mr. Gilmore for us? Could I ask you, please? And coming to the stage. Come on, Caitlin, the world is watching.
The lovely Ian Gilmore is here today, who is a member of our Special Economic Zone with Cayman Enterprise City, and he has been working on some fabulous projects, like really cool projects, and one of which I think is going to be like a celebrity of all projects. So I'm excited to have him on here today to share his knowledge, his experience, and also just some ideas around AI and what it's all about. How is it going to impact us here? Right.
And Ian, to you and through you, and in particular with some of the people who we met through Cayman Enterprise City, and then by extension the wider community, I'll share it publicly and I'll invite people to help. I love to learn. I love to not just talk, have a conversation, to engage with people. And sometimes I'll actually say, if it's okay with you, I'll make a note. Now, my only challenge is A, wait a minute, what did I write down there? I'm not quite sure I can read my handwriting. And B, where did I put that piece of paper? Because I still like my paper. And I said to share that I'm hoping within the next, say, 14 months or thereabouts, for us as a public to very seriously and very deliberately, consciously have some meaningful discussions that are not just provocative from the sense of, well, why are we doing that? Why are we not doing that? But start to be evocative and ask us to think deeply. If you would, as much as you wish, I mean, I like what Caitlin said, the lovely, she said. I couldn't say that. I wouldn't even say that, right?
You say I'm lovely, that's fine.
You know, it's like my friend, she goes, oh, that's lovely. So you say. But despite her, well, introduce yourself. I mean, tell us about your company. If you want, as much as you want, about you and your
You'd be very careful because my favourite subject is me and my companies, so we could be here all day. But
okay, well,
in summary, so I've been in Cayman now. I'm going into my 6th year. Absolutely loving it, and I've been in Cayman Enterprise City with 2 projects. This one I've been in for 2.5 years, and we started moving into artificial intelligence. I could see I started working in the field in 2016-17 in a different country, and I could see that it was starting to really become something that was going to become meaningful in a commercial way, not just a research way. I got very lucky in that we bought a company called AI Forum in 2022, which is when we came in late last year to talk about that. And then subsequently, we've been very busy. It doesn't feel like a century since we last spoke. I feel like I've actually put 100 years on the clock. So, but we've been working really hard, and the industry has just gone through. So what's happened is the world has woken up to AI, but AI has always been there. Yeah. So the technology, the way that the algorithms work. I read a paper. There's a really famous technique called backpropagation, and we were going, well, this is like obviously it's recent, and it was 1986 when it was first published by Geoffrey Hinton, and it's like, oh my goodness, that was like, were you born? I mean, I just finished. I was just going into university then. So these techniques are like, they're decades old, but the technology, the techniques have met with the technology, and the technology now is so performant that it can actually take these vast calculations and run them, whereas before it was just impossible. So that's what's really changed, is that we've actually got technology that's fast enough and can deal with these volumes of data, and then you've got these breakthrough technologies like ChatGPT that suddenly everybody's thought, wow, that's actually quite powerful. And that's when it's kind of had that sort of iPhone moment back in 2023, and people start to realize this is becoming a reality.
That's something I want to talk about. I mean, I joke and, because I like what he said, my friend Simon says, we talk about artificial intelligence, let's work on fixing natural stupidity. and the beauty of it is that for many of us, and I'm very conscious, I like my pen, I like my paper, preferably a pencil, right? Because it helps with you to, tactile, it helps you to feel it, but it also helps you to have it accessible. But there are many people who like that digital thing. Their books are all digitally stored because they can have, a 1,000-volume collection, and it doesn't break down the bookshelf. They can carry it with them, and it's not overloaded. How many times you've gone out in the backyard with a book in a hammock and you feel like it's, there's no space for the other stuff? I say that to ask then, with technology being what it is, we go back to authors like Dizard and Barno and the like that talked about the whole notion that technology exists, and is it a servant or is it a master? Is it being embraced by us with a sense of control and direction, or is it that thing that's going to come to us and dictate? And the robots are coming. And so are the Italians, the Chinese, and the Germans, and everybody else. How do we leverage that? So what is AI, and what are some of the concerns, and what are some of the great things that we can perhaps benefit?
So AI doesn't exist. It's a very interesting marketing term, but in reality, the underlying technologies break down into things like computer vision, an area that I work in, natural language processing, graph neural networks, those kind of things, which aren't as sexy as AI. So AI kind of is like the classification for these technologies, but underneath the hood, all of these technologies have, as I've said, they've been around for quite a while. But what's coming through is the first wave of, if you like, general purpose technologies. But they're very. I think a lot of commentators would say if they were a plane or a car, they wouldn't be allowed to go into production. They're not production ready, and the reason for that is because initially, when you start playing with these technologies, you're blown away, right? Especially with like this new technology that came out with you could put a piece of text and you get a movie quality out, right?
Yeah.
But these technologies don't have an understanding of physics. They don't know what gravity is. They don't understand that humans have 2 limbs. We have 4 fingers and a thumb, and they don't have any sort of understanding of the world as such. All they are is very smart algorithms.
Yeah.
But that's the limit of their capabilities. So what's really impressive upon first usage, after some continuous usage, you start to find that actually there's lots of problems, and those problems are deep within the current architecture of these technologies. So one would argue that actually the next iteration that comes out will be something that actually takes a completely different direction. Okay.
Is AI, and we've heard the term, machine learning, is that the same thing? What is it, and what's different if it's not?
So there's a number of different techniques. Machine learning and deep learning are kind of related. One deals with structured data and one deals with unstructured data. So machine learning is something that's really good at crunching text, for example, right? And you can use taxonomies and things like that. Deep learning can deal with video, speech, things that are really difficult for a computer to understand, and there's a very sophisticated way of trying to create a signal from noise. So, but deep learning is like a really big algorithm, and machine learning is a bit more sort of kind of quasi-linear in the way that it understands the data. But both help you to get to a goal, which is either to recognize text, recognize speech, recognize pixels as a picture, an image, or even as a video. But all these techniques, all of these technologies are they're powered by data. So the biggest thing that AI needs to work is data, and where you get the data from is where some of the problems come in.
All right. When you come back from the break, I want you to share with us, and I'm hoping that people listening, for me anyway, would go away going, hey, how is this something that we can benefit? What are concerns we should have? Like anything, like money. It's a great tool. It's a great servant, but a bad master. Money, in my mind, isn't the bad. Money and the way you use it might be. So when you come back, can we talk more about that? 100%. All right. I'm all excited. To our listeners, it's a Monday. Imagine what we're going to achieve on Friday. I'll tell you about that too. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I go in flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
You don't sound too good there, Bobo.
Yeah, you know how it is. With the kids back in school, every other week they come in out with something, and then I catch it.
Sound like it catch you. But for real, brother, flu season is here and COVID is still around. You gotta stock up on things like medicine, vitamins, and minerals for you and the kids. You know what they say, prevention is better than cure.
At ValueMed, our pharmacists can help manage flu symptoms and provide guidance on vitamins and minerals to best support you and your family's overall health. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Town, or WhatsApp your questions and prescription refills to ValueMed on Walkers Road at 926-1662, or WhatsApp ValueMed in Town at 916-5511. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back. And we're talking about the great things that are happening over Cayman Enterprise in the Special Economic Zone, together with Ms. Caitlin Elphinstone and Ian Gilmore. As we continue the discussion, I'm told we have a caller join us. Let's go to the phone and say welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling.
And to you, sir. How are you today?
That's fine, thank you. Good afternoon to your guest there.
Afternoon.
Esteemed guest.
Yes, sir.
I heard a gentleman say something that I've been waiting for someone to say for a long time. That is that obviously a computer and a highly technical person, knowledge of these things. And I presume a mathematician also. That AI is just a name to sell it, really. And we give these things these kind of human-friendly names because it sells billions and untold billions and into trillions of dollars of equipment that normally people wouldn't buy if they didn't hear it. You say a virus. How in the world can a machine develop a virus? But we've been using that term now for so long that it's become a natural thing. And we know that it's just the wrong thing to say, but it's better to use that when we say user-friendly. Those things make it much more human. Just a sophisticated mathematical machine that has grown over the years to be able to do tremendous mathematical equations and so forth at a very high speed, higher and higher as we develop smaller and smaller, things to do it with the transistors and the new chips and so forth, microchips and micro and so forth. I know I'm a lot older than all of you here. I don't have to ask. When they first came out, I remember the first CPUs were the size of a refrigerator. And to operate them, I remember one in 1964 in the company I was working with, that you had to have at least a pass in mathematics. You had to have a very good pass in mathematics at GC, O level or A level, to be able to operate them. I'll never forget that, because the department I was in, they had asked me, the computer man, Mick, would you come up and work with us instead? And I said, no, I don't. But
yes, sir.
Because he didn't have that, and I had passes in maths and advanced pure applied maths, but I wasn't really interested in that. But you did have to have that, as that gentleman there, I'm sure he knows. And then COBOL was created, and that enabled people without any real big knowledge of mathematics to be able to operate them, because it did that translation into normal. I think it was invented by a U.S. the first woman to become an admiral in the United States Navy. She was a mathematician. That's how she created it. And that's what they use. And over the years, it has been, of course, advanced and devised and things. But they were first designed computers for military purposes, mostly for the firing of the great guns on battleships and the elevation and the wind speed direction and the trajectory that would be necessary at certain wind speeds and the firepower and the trigonometric equations necessary. And then we saw with the space thing, if anyone has ever watched it over and over, I remember very well when we landed. I was up in Canada working at the time on the moon, and
yes, sir.
a tremendous amount of computers needed for that. And now we have advanced over the years. But what I was going to say is this. They are, and quickly, so I'll get off, that at that time, I never forget my older brother, who was a senior auditor with the company. He said to me, Mick, when he looked at it, raising that big refrigerator-sized CPU up to the computer room or the control room for this giant company. They were doing spreadsheets at the time and stuff. Anyhow, that he said this is going to cut out, that was 60 years ago this year, 1964.
Yes,
that
sir.
is going to cut out a lot of jobs. A lot of people will lose their jobs. They'll be replaced with computers. And he was so absolutely right. That is one of the great drawbacks of the whole thing. I know there's a lot to praise it for, and we know all that. Young people can't live without a cell phone now. They have it to their ears.
Yes, sir.
Older people later.
Yes, sir.
But the thing is this, what we've got to remember also, the drawback to it is this. The criminals that use software, we call them flim-flam people. They now use cell phones and computers to do their job. One of the great disadvantages with it in that effect is tracing it. There's no paper trail.
Right.
There's no paper trail. That's how we used to catch them before. Now it's very, very difficult as they keep up with the latest trends.
Yes, sir.
Also, so there's always a plus and a negative to everything. But I'm glad he said that about it, that it belays this thing that we're thinking of artificial intelligence.
Hello, sir. All right. Thanks for that, and apologies to the caller. But if I may ask you, I mean, the caller, as always, makes some excellent points. Is it that his words, I'm not quite sure then, so thank you for that. Is it just semantics, as he was sharing, or is it as he's talking about a few things, the use of mathematics and critical thinking? Do we need to be that skilled in maths and the like as in the days of old, or is it that we plug and play?
Well, I think the point is that, and it's really well made by the caller, is that so human factors engineering is used, time and time. I think Boeing could do with a bit more human factors engineering at the moment. Maybe they need to go back to the drawing board on some of their planes. But if you look at AI, there's no real analogue of human factors engineering. There is lots of conversations in my industry talking about the safety of the products. And I think that's clearly one of the limiting factors of adoption is the fact that these algorithms have just spun up in this iteration. And we've got a lot of problems with the word of the year last year was hallucination, for example. We were discussing in between the calls that there's this thing called dialect prejudice, where actually the dialect of the person asking a question can actually impact the output from some of these models. And we've got a long way to go. Many iterations over many decades before these products are actually safe, like really truly safe and free of, if you like, things that can harm people. So you wouldn't let one of these models fly a plane, even drive a car. So the good news is that we're a long way off these things becoming ubiquitous. But obviously you can kind of see the direction of travel.
Right. And as we take this call, I'm thinking to what you shared, maybe we can talk about it in a bit. The prejudices, but how many of us have had our phone or even the voice telephone prompts and they say, say the name and you can't get through to where you want, or even our phones now we're asking something This is more than that,
prejudice,
right? And we can see it even potentially, if we can talk about it, the use of AI, whatever that is, in human resource and hiring. How does that filter out applications, search engine optimization as well? You know, where do you get beyond what you pay for in order to get where you want to be on the web page? Little things that are no longer subtle. Maybe I'll ask about that, but I'm told we have another caller. And to the gentleman that called just then, thanks for his contribution as we take this next call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
How are you, sir? How are you?
Yeah, you got an interesting conversation going on there today. But
thank you.
AI, you know, I think as the gentleman said, it's been around for a long time. It really started out in voice recognition back probably in the late 50s or early 60s, and maybe even further back than that. But anyway, we know that all this technology is based on 0 and 1. And this question I posed to the gentleman there, who seems to be quite versed in all of this. I'm not sure whether he goes back to the...
Are you talking about me, sir? Thank you.
That could never be, but...
I
don't know whether he goes back to the days of resistor color codes and transistors and vacuum tubes and all of this, and back to the stage where the vacuum tubes would actually have to be cooled by water. And technology has progressed over the years, but everything on this AI and whatever else comes after it has so far been based on 0 and 1 sort of foundation. You're familiar with that? You know, I'm sure you know that.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Now, in the future, is there scope to move from 0 and 1 to maybe 1.5 and 2.25? Do you think that technology exists out there?
Well, I think you're referring to quantum computing, so the ability to use qubits as part of the computation. Is that maybe what you're referring to?
Well, yeah, that's what it's all referred to.
Yeah,
and based on.
Yeah, no, there's billions of dollars being invested in quantum computing. It exists today. It's so that gets away from the paradigm of binary or ones and zeros. But the actual underlying mathematics that's used in machine learning, for example, and in deep learning and generally across the industry is something called a tensor. So tensor mathematics is high dimensional mathematics, which even though the resistors and the transistors that are creating the ones and the zeros, the actual libraries that are being used now are using tensor libraries. So we use vectors, matrices, scalars, tensors, and the maths are very high order. So the actual mathematics is actually it's centuries old. Yeah. Einstein used tensors to solve the theory of relativity, but it's only recently that they've actually been on the chip, and that's giving us this enormous, massive increase in compute power. And so quantum computing will be the next frontier on that, and that's it's not even an exponent. I don't even know what the mathematical increase is, but when quantum computing comes in, that's going to be a real game changer. But the cost of a quantum computing rig is it's not economic today. So we're not stuck with this maths because it's really advanced mathematics. The problem as we were talking earlier is actually the maths is actually really good. It's the data that's the real sticking point with the technology today, because the compute problem is kind of going quite well. It's the actual what we put into these things that's really problematic.
So we can get out. Yes, sir.
Well, do you think that Thomas Edison and Telstar and Faraday and Berliner and some of these guys from way back, do you think that they actually might have had some thoughts of all of what we see on the canvas today?
Yep, 100%. A lot of the techniques are... So my company is named after a very famous Swiss mathematician called Euler. And he did something like 600 or 700 mathematical discoveries, and Eulerian graph theory is something that's actually used in mathematics today, dating back from the Seven Bridges of Königsberg. So if you think about the mathematicians in the 16th, 17th, 18th century, they would find this mathematics actually quite familiar. Even the tensor level mathematics was a sort of turn of the last century event. So the mathematics is actually reasonably well understood. It's the advances, if you like, in the way that those libraries are actually put onto chips. That's the big innovation, because we went from CPU to GPU, and now what are called TPUs, tensor processing units.
Yeah. So from pen and paper to digital.
I guess the great leap was when, I guess it was in the Bell Laboratories, where they came up with the transistor, the conductor that was used in transistors. And, from there, I guess it went on to chips and whatnot. And but it's an interesting subject, and it seems that Charlie has looking towards the stars over there at
definitely
at the city.
All right. And thank you for that. And only other reference to our time, I guess, will only be to one. Let's pick it up again, and thanks for that call. We'll pause, but if I might, when we return, two things. Talk about what's happening, through you, Caitlin, at Cayman Enterprise in the Special Economic Zone in particular, but maybe some of the dangers and pitfalls potentially, but also some of the maybe the newness and what to be expected, and potential, maybe what we need to look out for. I know there's a lot to cover in less than 10 minutes, but I'll ask for it all the same. To our listeners, stay tuned.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
It's Digicel's 20th birthday bash, and you're invited. We are giving away 20 phones for 20 years. Win an iPhone or a Samsung smartphone as part of our anniversary celebration. Simply spend $20 or more at Digicel, or be an active postpaid customer, and you could be our lucky winner. It's our way of saying thank you for 20 incredible years of connection and support from our amazing customers like you. Don't miss out on this epic celebration. Go to your nearest Digicel store today and join the party. Digicel, better connected.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Every day, thousands of us use our roads.
I drive to work.
My dad drives me to school.
I make deliveries across the island.
But with every journey comes responsibility. Our actions behind the wheel can have serious consequences, so let's make a commitment to safety. The Cayman Islands government invites you to take the Safe Drivers Pledge. The pledge is our opportunity to show our dedication to creating a safer environment on our roads.
Do it for your community.
For your loved ones.
For yourself.
Let's make our roads safer together and say no more for 2024. Visit www.gov.ky/road safety for more information and to take the pledge.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. And like the last two callers, the gentleman prior and then the one just before the break, I think he's correct. We have not just an opportunity for an exciting, engaging conversation with Caitlin Levinstone together with Ian Gilmore. The idea of AI, and I know I asked a few things. I know that we only got a few more minutes of our discussion today, but Caitlin, if you want to share anything, if not, I want to ask Ian, about some of the new things in AI. But what would you like to share?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really exciting industry for Cayman to be attracting businesses in AI through Cayman Enterprise City. They're businesses that have big impact with small footprints.
Yeah.
I think we were kind of talking about that before. So there's like high, well-paying jobs that are starting to flourish within the special economic zone in these really cool new industry sectors that don't take a lot of space. They don't need massive teams. Like a small team can have a really impactful NASDAQ-traded company. There's a lot of really exciting opportunities, and we're here to help with that knowledge transfer and to help individuals in Cayman to get tech careers or to start their own things. So if you have an AI idea, come to us. We're kind of fostering that nourishing environment to start new companies and ideas.
And the thing is, whether it's capital intensive because of the size of the building or the land, the physical land, but also you have an opportunity to be based there, for instance, and be connected with other people across the globe, across time zones. I think that's what's fascinating. But with everything, Ian, if I may ask, are there dangers of this? I mean, is it all, just glory days, or should we be cautious?
I think the last 12 months have shown that the technology is early days.
Mm-hmm.
So fortunately, we haven't got aeroplanes, cars, everything driving using this term AI, whatever you call it. But in the future, it will become more embedded within our society. And one of the areas that early areas of concern is what we were talking about earlier about jobs, applying for loans, things like that. And the technology, unfortunately, has got inherent biases in it because of the training data it uses. And that needs to be fixed before this stuff could actually be relied upon to award a loan or give someone a job.
Right.
We are nowhere close to having the technology safe enough to do that.
So let me then ask two things. And the first one is in relation to what the caller prior was talking about. Having a good math skill set. And many of us, I can think of a good spreadsheet. I put the numbers in. I just want to know the sum total. I click a button, and that 100 sort of rows immediately summed up. But I need to know what I'm doing with it. I need to know that the addition is correct. Are we at a risk of us being just accepting the thing and using it and not having sufficient brain power to program it, to understand it, to analyze it?
It's already happening. There are already there's already actions taking place in U.S. courts where an attorney has cited a legal precedent that doesn't exist because they got it from ChatGPT. And that's a really classic example of how can an attorney, with all of those years of education, just because they were in a rush, presumably, go to ChatGPT, ask for some case law, publish that in a brief to a judge, and then find out that it doesn't even exist.
So, as the U.S. President Reagan said to the then President Gorbachev, trust but verify. Are we more and more in dire need to ensure that as educators, we're instructing, as people, we're trusting, and we're able to go to the source?
100%. I think where we are right now is that you need to verify everything that you get out of these products, because actually the way you ask the question will influence the way you get the answer. So even if you don't answer the question correctly, you'll get a different answer. So I think with these technologies, you need to use them as some sort of something to help you perform a particular task, but it doesn't replace human judgment and human skill. And I think we're a long, long way off that.
And what I said at the outset, and I'm mindful because of my own endeavors and intentions and desires and the like, but also I see the Cayman landscape as a great learning environment, a classroom. In saying that, we look at what the Cayman Islands has done in the financial services from the 60s. We see that we're pioneers. We have leading in many of our legislation. With respect to AI, are there particular policies that we need to implement, pitfalls we need to avoid? Are there things that we should be considering? What would you say to us if we were listening?
How long have I got?
You can go today, and then you can come on again, because I want to have
part two.
Yeah.
That feels like a part two. I think in summary, the Cayman Islands is we have had many conversations and telling. We think the Cayman Islands is in a really good, strong position to actually use some of the strengths. I'll give you one very simple example. A couple of years ago, I went to John Gray School with some of my colleagues from London, and actually one of the guys was from Sweden. His name's Rasmus Häggkvist, who's quite a famous entrepreneur now in Sweden. And we went to John Gray School, and we were blown away by, I don't know what the key stage is or whatever there, but like the 8, 9, 10-year-olds. These smart kids in all the schools in Cayman, they get it.
Yeah.
And we need to give them the career routes for them to walk into these new jobs by equipping them with those skills today, and also giving them the mentorship. And that's something that I think Cayman Enterprise City's well equipped to do, is to give these kids a route into these future jobs and generate some. I've got an announcement that I will send to you that I haven't got the formal, but I've actually got a world first for Cayman technology firms, which Caitlin knows and I can't disclose, but I will send to you. But we want to have more breakthrough technologies from Cayman, and I think with the youth that you've got here, you can easily do that. There's lots of smart people here. They just need to be given the opportunity.
You know what, I almost inclined to say something, but timing is key. They tell me timing is key. Ms. Caitlin, this is one reason why I'm grateful that although this is a paid sponsorship to promote, we're grateful. You could be elsewhere doing other things, and as the people who are listening, we start to see it as a friend, not a foe, as something that we should embrace and not be afraid of. But more important, something that we should direct and control, as opposed to being manipulated by it. And I think, Ian, if I could borrow what you shared, trust but verify. Whatever is there, just because it's being said in some search engine tells you, it doesn't mean it's correct. All right.
100%.
Closing thoughts, Ms. Caitlin?
So many opportunities for Cayman, and I'm really excited for the future. So please do get involved, get in touch, and learn more, explore.
Yeah. Well, thank you all very much. I come here every day, and sometimes I have to dig very deep. Sometimes I just need to coast along, and today has been one of those where my wings are soaring because the promise and potential is just so beautiful. Thanks,
Too
man.
kind. Thank you.
All right. Well, when we come back, as we had a chance to look to the future, let us now join our next guest and reflect on the past and the promise of what was and what could be, if we have the desire to make the service and the sacrifice. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
One radio station. Radio Cayman is the voice of the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Police are investigating a wounding incident that took place on Market Street in Georgetown on Saturday, March 16th. The incident involves two men in a dispute, resulting in one man being injured with a blade. Anyone with information is asked to call the Georgetown Police Station at 949-4222. In international news, dozens of U.S. citizens fled the chaos and violence of Haiti this weekend, arriving on a government-chartered plane in Miami on Sunday. The flight came a week after Washington airlifted non-essential staff from the capital, Port-au-Prince, parts of which have been overrun by gangs. The State Department is working to help other Americans leave as gunfire and threats of starvation rock Haiti. Aid groups have warned that millions of Haitians face acute food shortages. The first flight touched down in Miami with 47 people aboard, according to CBS News, the BBC's U.S. partner. Donald Trump's lawyers have said finding a bond to cover the $464 million judgment in his New York fraud case is a practical impossibility. A judge ordered Mr. Trump to pay the penalty in February for falsely inflating the value of his assets. Mr. Trump offered to post a smaller bond of $100 million while he appeals, but that request was denied. In a filing on Monday, his lawyers said they had approached 30 companies to back the bond without success. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA's Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
Born in Creek, Cayman Brac on the 25th of September 1939, Henry Mansfield Connolly was the third of 8 children for Henry Kitchener and Olive Connolly, an experienced seaman with 30-plus years with national bulk carriers and doing ship-to-ship oil transfers off the Brac during the 1980s. He was also the founder of C&H Plumbing and an original band member of the famous Brac Beach Boys. During his time home from sea, he studied the art of catboat making and assisted his late grandfather-in-law, Mr. Arthur Dilbert, with the building of many catboats. Mr. Connolly loved serving in the community and was a volunteer during hurricane emergencies and assisted with the hurricane preparations, especially seeing to the safety of the elderly and the community. He would often share his fishing catch with friends and neighbors and bring Christmas gifts for the elderly. He was married to Elmitha Dilbert for 60 years and has 4 children, 5 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren.
The Cayman Islands Gender Affairs Unit invites the public to join us on Friday, March 22nd at the Glass House Lawn on Elgin Avenue for the Women in Agriculture Farmers Market from 1:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Come and support women-owned or operated farms and related businesses, showcasing their agricultural-based products. From fresh produce to homemade goods, your purchases will contribute to the economic empowerment of women in agriculture, making a real difference in our community. Mark your calendars, spread the word, and join us in celebrating the remarkable women shaping our agricultural sector. To register as a vendor, visit frc.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us, and to Darrell Dakers and Mr. Danny Doucette. Thanks for coming around. I'll ask, through you to be guided. I genuinely love this place, as I believe anybody who either has been born, raised, or somehow has been so intimately connected that they find an affinity for their space. And I don't only love Cayman because of that. I love it because of people who came here very early in their years, or they were brought by their parents and they were born. And there's this genuineness about them. They just adopted the place. They just integrated in such a way that through them, the place is so much better. And that's the beauty of Cayman. I mean, that's how I see it. But I also love it because there's so much promise and potential and so much that we can see with ease that can be addressed. And I'm hoping that that's not being optimistic and overly positive. Hope it's not being idealistic and viewed as a negative connotation, but something, Darryl, that is just great, man.
Well, not being conceited, but I have traveled a lot. Israel, Egypt, Turkey, all those places, Aruba, Caribbean, all over America and other places, Colombia, before I became a Christian. I, performed many places. Yeah. And like I say, not being conceited, but before I say that, I always wanted to be a city boy. So going to America was very big for me. And I moved to Minnesota, do some schooling, and learned about music, the Jewish music and all of that. And I was up there and I really took my hand and knocked myself in the head and say, what I'm doing here, I'm going back home and I'm going to be an island boy. And that's when I came back home and wrote the song Another Sunny Day. Yeah. And my performance, my name was called Cayman's Native Son. But I became a Christian, stopped recording, and for a long time, but now I'm going to start have my equipment in Miami. I'm going to start back recording. I'm going to do Christian music, good Christian music, but also I'm going to be doing culture music, which some Christians will say what I'm doing. But I've been really studying for a long time. Went to Israel and understand that their church music, which was synagogue, was very different from their culture music.
Right.
And when Jesus went to the wedding, he listened to that music. It was a week long, and he even danced at the wedding. I'm not saying in church. So all because of that, I'm going to be looking real on sacred gospel music, but some culture music that I grew up listening to from the older people. So let's really talk about. I was telling you, not being conceited. In all of my traveling, I think that Cayman, not one of, but is the best place in the world at this time.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Daniel, welcome, man. It's good to get you in person. We had you on the phone a couple of times in the back. Yes. Welcome, man. How are you?
I'm very well.
Yeah.
Thank you for seeing me here today, the opportunity to talk a little bit. Yeah. I wasn't born here. Well, that's evident. I was born in Quebec, Canada, French-speaking. And my teenage years were here. My bringing up, my influences, schooling here at CCC, graduated in 73. And all my life, I came back a few times in Cayman, but all my life, even when I'm in Canada, Cayman is in my heart all the time, and the Caymanian people. Just like my dad did, because my dad did a lot of things there. And I'm sure that some people realize that today's Cayman economy and growing and building up, my dad had something to do with putting Cayman on the map for sure.
Certainly. Yeah. But before we move forward, let's go back. As a little boy, I remember my parents driving across Interbike and seeing this guy in the bush playing drums. This hippie guy in the bush playing drums.
It's true.
That's true. That is true. And I was about 12 years old. And time I got 13, some reason my brother was the first friend that Daniel met on the island. So they formed a group and used me as a bass player. I cried because I didn't want to play bass, and I'm happy now that I did. But so we started playing together. I was 13 years old. He was about 17. We were playing at Club Inferno. At 13 years old, I was playing in the nightclub, Club Inferno. Government tried to stop me in different things, but they didn't happen. But it was very innocent because it was Sunday evenings. I think all it was serving was boiled eggs and popcorns, I think, a little patty or something. So I don't know even if we were serving liquor. But his daddy, we used to rehearse at the bank first. And then we went to Mr. Doucette's house to rehearse. And Mr. Doucette said, I will be involved with the band if you call it the Five Termites. And we called it the Five Termites.
The Termites.
And Daniel can tell you a bit about that.
Well, first of all, the bush where I was playing the drums is actually today the parking lot of Buckingham Square, which was where the bank was. And I was underage too. I was a bit older than Darryl, but I had special permission or special permit that my dad had gotten from the government here, so I could play in some places where they served alcohol. Yeah. I didn't have the right to drink, but so Inferno and other places we played, and
It was also a different time, a cultural where you looked out for your children. You weren't offered anything; you were just sort of supported, right?
Exactly.
I want to speak more about that because I think in looking forward we can look back, and looking back we can. Darryl, we do have a call online.
Okay, sure.
If I can invite you
Put
to
on
put
here.
them on, I mean, it might be possible to be looking cooler, but you might. Daniel, you do the same as well.
Yes.
Daniel do said Darryl Dacre is our guest. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hey, the one and only Quincy B. How's it going, man?
Ah, très bien. Bonsoir, comment ça va? Ça va bien?
Ça va très bien, merci.
Merci
Ah,
beaucoup.
Très bien, très bien. Bonne journée.
Bonne journée à toi aussi.
Je m'appelle Quincy. It's good to call in. A little bit of French there, trying to get that in practice.
Oh, there you go. I couldn't even imagine somebody would speak French to me. But c'est très bien, merci.
Très bien.
Très bien, très bien. Attitude, bonne journée.
Oui, toi aussi, mon ami.
Mon ami?
Ben oui. Tous les Caymaniens sont mes amis. All Cayman people are my friends.
Yes.
Of course.
This is why music is so important. It does not matter where one comes from, but I'm glad that Island Boy, Darryl Dacre, is on the radio today because this is our homegrown talent. But music is international. Music, and I think Joel Wilson from Radio Cayman, J.O.K., Will Sinatra always says, if the music unites us, let no one divide us. And it's so true.
Well,
music does that.
Quincy, I just want to say that I've been playing from 13 years old, but I moved to Minnesota in 1989 and did a course called Perfect Pitch of Music. It really changed my thinking about music. Most people talk about music, what we should play, what we shouldn't play, and really don't understand the color of chords, happy chords, sad chords, and all of that. And when I took the course, I didn't really understand it. But when I became a Christian, I really started understanding, even knowing the children of Israel could only use certain chords in their music. And I did a lot of studying on that. So I'm happy to be involved in certain kind of music again, but mostly gospel music, good quality gospel music. Like I say, the young people, when they hear like Another Sunny Day by Me, and I'm a Christian, they say, oh man, that stuff is so uplifting, it's so happy. What we're listening to is really not helping us. What can we do to help you? They're saying. So it's cry. I go on the beach and the tourists is basically saying the same thing. So it's really sad what is happening. So yes, music bring us together, but certain music that bring us together, I wouldn't be playing. And like one writer said, there's so much things to say right now, but we have to cut it a little short. But in the band of the Five Termites, going back there, you had me as a bass player, you had Daniel on drums, and you have Claude Miles on rhythm guitar, and George Gillette on lead guitar. And then we changed and went to Davian from West Bay. I think he passed away, but he played with us also in the place of George. I think George had left.
The Cayman Moon song.
Maybe. So we go back a long way.
Let's So before we continue, Quincy, you still there?
I am still here, and I don't want to take away from your guest. If you could just give me 60 more seconds.
Of course, man. Of course.
Sure.
If I go over.
You go ahead, man. You go ahead. Thank you.
60 seconds starting now. Thank you that you are sold out for Christ, Darryl Dacre, Island Boy. And let me tell you something. I can attest, and I can be a testament, or I can lend my voice. When you are singing for the Lord, it's no longer than about show business. It's no longer singing or performing. It becomes a ministry.
Yes.
Ministry of the Lord Jesus Christ. That's the Lord. All right. Good news is I'm going back into studio very soon to do a gospel album with some Caymanian flavor. So you might get a little bit of Julia in there, but we're going to definitely do Christ Be Our Light. And I'll be teaming up with persons like Sean Hinnings and Devin Eady maybe, and perhaps even Darryl Dacre, because it's not about how much money I can make. It is about getting the message of Christ out to the people. So I'm going to wind up by saying, keep up the good work, get the music out there. If you sing a song, if you minister in song, you can touch a person with 1,000 words. It may be a beat, a bar.
Right.
You see, I'm not a musician.
Yeah.
I sing.
But words are powerful. I mean, Scripture says life and death in tongue. But music, there's ministry, there's message. And I think as Darryl invited, Quincy, thank you very much. We can help with the conversations going forward. Take care of yourself, and keep using your talent the way you are. Darryl, before I come at you, to Daniel's point, I mean, thanks for taking time to visit with us, not just in Cayman, but
I'm very happy.
on the studio today. I'm hoping that in our discussion today, a couple of things will become evident. we all occupy a space and a place and a time, and how do we contribute? Is it positive and productive? Are we pensive as we're looking at things and purposeful? Or are we deliberately malicious, trying to undermine? I want to ask specifically something, but I'm told we have a caller, so deference to our callers. Let's take this next one. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling. Hello?
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Thank you again for the call earlier as well.
I just I caught the voice. I thought it was Darryl until I heard his name mentioned. And, you know, it's good that you pinned him down for a minute, because every time I've seen him over the last 50 years, he's been running.
And recently, I mean, it's been like a flying kite, man. Up and down, man.
Anyway, it's good to hear that you're moving your music up to what I would term a higher plane.
Yes,
and
yes.
Certainly going to look forward to that, offering whatever you put on the table.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of writing, but no recording. So like I say, I have equipment now in Miami. As soon as I get this all together, I will start recording. Matter of fact, there are pastors that listen to a song I did for children, Dandelito the Dinosaur. They're asking me, can you do music like that for children? Because the children's in the church, they're going there to get 18, they're gone from the church, and they wonder why the children's gone. So, you know, I'm looking in that area too. It's going to be very, very good classical music, but it will not be Christian music. My gospel music will be for church, and this will be like children is playing in the yard or on the beach, that they can really have some fun, that we're not handcuffing them, that you have to sit here and you can't do this. So yes, keeping the holiness of my Christianity, but looking at it from Jesus' perspective, not from what people tell you, but you reading the Bible yourself and researching culture and really finding out really what is truth to you. So many people at times talk to me and they say, well, this is so, and I say, can you tell me where to find it? They say, I'll get back to you, I'll bring you some text. And then they will send me a video with some preacher preaching what he think. So I'm excited. I haven't been so much excited in my life like I am now. But going back to Daniel again, when Daniel left Cayman, we didn't say goodbye. I was probably about 15 years old. And through my music career, he was always on my mind. And I always wonder, you know, where can I find this guy? I assumed that he moved back to Montreal, Canada, but I didn't have any connections. And in late 90s, I met the helper, Celia. She was up in age. And I say, do you hear anything from Mr. Doucette? She said, he used to send me a card every year, but it's been a long time I haven't heard from him. To make a long story short, I say, do you have a number? She gave it to me. I called Mr. Doucette. Said, Mr. Doucette, Darryl Dakers from the Cayman Islands. You remember me? He said no, which I was so young. And I said, do you have a number for Daniel? He said, yes. So I called Daniel in Canada, and I said, Daniel is Darryl Dakers. Darryl Dakers? What are you calling me? You're a musician. No worry, I'm a taxi driver. What are you calling me? I said, Daniel, I always wanted to get in touch with you. And I booked a flight and went to Canada. And we met, and he said, you know, one day I would like to come back to Cayman. 9 months later, heard a knock on my door. He showed up, and they put him in the newspaper. I think you had him on the radio here. So it was a great reunion with us. But this much I can say, Daniel body is in Canada, but his mind is in Cayman. Yeah.
I'm an island boy too for a long time.
If you listen to his songs, and a matter of fact, he brought his lyrics. It's about four inches thick that he wrote, and every song that he has written
inspired by Cayman.
About Cayman.
Well, we'll ask Daniel to share, but to the caller, Mr. Loxley, is still there, sir?
Yeah. Just before I go, I just want to say to Darryl, you know, a lot of inspirational music is very entertaining and fulfilling. So keep up the good work, and you know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Lockley.
Let me have your first copy off the press.
Well, you know, strange enough, it's not CDs anymore. It's Spotify and iTunes and Amazon. But yes, I will do some CDs locally because a lot of people here still have CD players in their cars. So yes.
It's a good way to keep a collection.
Yes.
Hey, thanks very much.
Thumb drives also. Okay.
There you go. Thanks, Mr. Loxley. But Daniel, from that, right, we look at where Cayman is in 2024. We look at all that's transpired globally, but in the Cayman context. From the 70s to now, it's not so much a trip down memory lane as much as we invite you to share as you wish.
It's like 50 years.
Don't remind me, okay? But where do you? I mean, if you were to go back, to those teenage years, and you just shared the parking lot, and now was the Highlander Bush back then on West Bay Road.
I could tell you that some nights we play at Club Inferno and we didn't have a car.
Yep.
And even me and Daryl, we had to walk back hoping to hitchhike to get a ride. And sometimes we would pray for a car to pass. And sometimes there wouldn't be any cars.
So let me ask, right? Because I think sometimes, I say this with great respect, and just as someone who consciously wants not only to understand our own landscape, the changes and what may have transpired, what potentially could be avoided or mitigated going forward, understanding what it is that they tell us, you can't cry over spilled milk. So we can't unring the bell, we can't rewind the hands of time.
No.
But we can potentially maybe either avoid or mitigate it somehow.
Well, do you think the progress will ever stop?
But is it progress? It's a wonderful word.
That's a good thing. Is it progress? Well, I don't know what other word you could say.
Yeah.
That would make me happy, because I'm not that happy with the progress and for Ireland.
Right. So
point.
let me ask, right? If we could look at it, and let's say we were sitting around the table in the 70s, even the 80s, but even the 60s, and we're sitting around the table and we were going to be considering what we would be doing in the next 5 decades. I say this, and again, to be guided through you both, it's probably easier for us today to look back 20 years and see it as yesterday than it is for us today to look forward even to next week, much less 20 years to see it, right? And you only understand that with the passage of time. So with great deference to that, if you could tell us, listen, these are the things to watch out for, if we were back then, what would they have been? Question one.
Well, I would say, why can't we see the ocean on West Bay Road?
Okay.
That's a big factor to me.
Yeah.
A big one. Because these little beach access signs, which are not really very well maintained anyways.
The accesses themselves, yeah?
And no place to park.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Well, Cayman has grown, but not the land.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a limit one day, or can just keep going higher and higher.
Yeah.
But, I don't know what to say about that. But I think Cayman Island is still beautiful.
Right.
But
I would like to add to that's what I had in mind. If we had to go back there, one thing I would say we shouldn't have done is we should have keep the beach area, no buildings. We had about Royal Palms and Pageant Beach in some places. Keep the beach. Don't build on the beach, build on the land side and walk over to the beach to have our family together. And I heard it was a proposal that the government in the 70s of someone that came here that made that proposal to put a boardwalk from town right through 7 Mile Beach, and government didn't go for that, and we were really paying the price. I know that we needed to grow.
So Daryl, I want to ask that. Danny, do you want to jump back in?
Yeah, let's hope that, for me, let's hope that at least the bottom town and the east end and the north side way, there's some kind of control there.
Right.
To keep it island feeling.
Perfect. So perfect, because I wanted to ask Daniel back then, and come to you, Daryl, from that perspective. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. I mean, if I could have, probably woulda, coulda. So with you and us as we are now, seeing that unless we knock down all the buildings wherever we don't like them,
you can't.
Right? And we can't. What then do you say to our people right now? What do we do? What do we not do? What do we perhaps reduce the doing of? What do we do?
Well,
give us the solution.
The solution today, I don't think any politician have the solution. I'm being honest with you. They can do the best they can. But we separate Christianity from our culture, and Christianity is part of our culture. We were founded on the sea, our national song, not the song, in all due respect, God Save the Queen. That is really not why we grew, because the Queen is dead and gone, in all due respect. But the song that God worked with He founded us on the sea, which come from the book of Psalms, I think it's 26. God always led this company, but this island, but we got to a point that we're separating the two. And until we get back, yet God is not coming down and moving a chair, but until we get back to say, where can we go, how we can solve the solution. I'm not talking about saying, I pray in the morning. And I know it's not about Christianity, but I'll ask you this question. Do you know Michael Jackson?
If I know him?
Yeah.
The singer,
the
football
singer,
player,
No,
or the mechanic?
The singer.
No, I don't know him.
You know Michael Jackson?
I mean, I know his music, but I don't know him.
Exactly. So a lot of people say, I know Michael Jackson. Then I will ask them the question, what is his birthday? What is his favorite food? What is colors he like? They say, I don't know. I say, you don't know him. You know of him. A lot of people know of Christ, but they don't know him.
But with that in mind, though, Darrell, I mean, the scriptures, and I don't separate my faith from whichever, right? But it's frustrating to see the stupidity that's transpiring in society, the willingness to blame the politicians, the pastors being inept, and everything else, right? Where are we, the people, standing up? And so let me ask, right? Faith without works is dead. We can't knock the buildings down. So what do we do today?
Well, you didn't make me finish, because unless we acknowledge that we have a problem, God, we have a problem. We don't have the solution. Can you help us? He downloads information in our minds, and then we start working very different. Sometimes we might feel like I don't even have to make sense, like the children of Israel. But later on, you will say, "I'm glad that I took this route."
So what are we not hearing then? I mean, what are we?
Well, you know.
Sorry, Daniel.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah.
I think the culture of Cayman has to. It can't disappear, because then it's what? It's just a Miami here. You know, how can you do it? How can you do that? So any future development and thing is a big businessman and the big money man. They probably don't think about that whatsoever, because
they see the money.
Money is the root of all evil.
The love of money.
Yeah, the love of money is not bad in itself. You know?
Well, no, but you know, too much. You know, if you have $1 million, you need $2 million. You know, I mean, where's the line? Where's the line? Where do you draw a line?
So, do you think we're at risk of losing our culture? I mean, from what you just shared.
Well, I've been here 2 weeks now, and I tell you, I look for Caymanians, because that's where I relate to Caymanians, but there's not that many of them. And working in restaurants and bars and whatever. So where are they?
And I will add, there are people that came here in the 70s and even today that really got Cayman status, that are Caymanians, really have the island at heart. I meet some of those people. It was an English guy. He was basically crying to me about, he came here in the 70s. But there are people that come here, and I don't have a problem with that to make money, and they take their money and build their homes back and try to change the culture, but one day going back home to retire. And that's something we really have to address. I go to the supermarkets now, and I have to dodge Caymanians because they're crying so much. Sometimes I can't take all the complaining. So
I hear that too.
Until we, let me tell you some of the big problem. We were raised up. No, sir. No, ma'am. Sit in the corner. Big people are talking. You can't speak, which was good training. But many Caymanians have that instilled in their mind, and because of that, if they speak up, they feel like they're stupid. They feel that they shouldn't. They feel guilty. But no, I'm going to talk about quarreling and fighting. I'm talking about reasoning and speak up and say, this is what's happening.
Daniel, to his point, what do you make of that?
Well, the new generations of Caymanians, or people that live in Cayman, you know, who educates them? I don't know, but should make them aware of what it used to be. But you know, if you don't know your history, even Bob Marley said that. You know, if you don't know your history, what's the use?
So
because history, the bad thing of history, the bad things that happened, the wars. If you don't know your history, it just keeps on repeating. So you have to find a way to interest.
So if you don't know where you're going, then the road will take you there. Respectful.
Just add again because we're just about over the time.
No, but take the break now.
Okay.
All right. That's cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. We're going to stay till 2, and I'm grateful for this opportunity because time to do is now.
Yes.
All right?
Certainly.
Talk is cheap.
Sure.
Join us after the break.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I go and flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments from March 18th to 23rd at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you are seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.portercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 949-9020.
The Cayman Islands Gender Affairs Unit invites the public to join us on Friday, March 22nd at the Glass House Lawn on Elgin Avenue for the Women in Agriculture Farmers Market from 1:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Come and support women-owned or operated farms and related businesses, showcasing their agricultural-based products. From fresh produce to homemade goods, your purchases will contribute to the economic empowerment of women in agriculture, making a real difference in our community. Mark your calendars, spread the word, and join us in celebrating the remarkable women shaping our agricultural sector. To register as a vendor, visit frc.gov.ky.
Has the circus come to town? No, it's A.L. Thompson's 2-week blowout sale from March 15 through March 30. Get under the huge tent outside A.L. Thompson's to save big. Save up to 75% on lighting, electrical, plumbing, paint, and hardware. Save up to 75% on housewares, building materials, and the ever-popular scratch and dent appliances. Take advantage of this savings while they last. It's March blowout under the tent at A.L. Thompson's, Georgetown.
Hey Cayman, this is Iliane Powery, your Miss Universe Cayman Islands 2023. Do you want the opportunity to help shape the future of youth and sports in the Cayman Islands? All you have to do is complete the National Youth and Sports Survey found at gov.ky/YSP. This is your chance to make a lasting impact on our community. Have your say today, Cayman, at gov.ky/YSP.
This announcement is brought to you by the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Heritage.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back. And to Daryl Dakers, publicly, thanks for this opportunity and to bring along, Mr. Daniel Doucette. For me, it's almost I'm hearing an impassioned plea for us to wake up, not just as, global citizens, but as people in Cayman, whether we ancestral or Daniel, there are many people, not just in West Bay, who would look at you and go, "You sure you wasn't born here?" Right? Because
I heard that many times.
it isn't just as Darrell said. Yeah, you may have come here at a certain time, you may have been born elsewhere, you may be living elsewhere, but there's a fondness and affinity, a genuine affection for Cayman. Why is that? What is that?
Before Daniel say, I wanted to make it clear, I'm not pushing Christianity on anyone. So please, if you're hearing that, I'm very sorry because I'm not. But what
Don't
I'm
apologize
saying,
for your faith,
No,
man.
I'm
You are
not
who you are.
apologizing for my faith, but I'm not pushing my faith on anyone. I'm saying the core of Cayman when I was growing up was Christianity. If I went on the street, the Christians most people were Christians. They could scold you. We call it school. They discipline you, send you home because we had that base. And when you lose that base, think of America. They took prayer out of the school. They took 10 Commandments out of the courthouse. Go back a few years before they took prayer out of the school and compare it today.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse. When you take God out of something, you cannot grow.
Yeah.
So coming back to where we're at now with what is happening, we want to welcome, I must say, my last show was in Aruba. My last show before becoming a Christian. And I was in the aircraft. And I looked at their book. They say, people are different. So are us as Arubians. So when you come here, we would appreciate if you respect our culture. And I was happy when I saw that. This is years ago. But we have to get to that point. We have over 175 different nationalities here. Some wonderful people that are now Caymanians. But we cannot expect American guy call us grassroots Caymanians to try to adjust to 175 cultures. It sets you crazy. So people coming to your country, when I go to Jamaica, I want to see Jamaica culture. I went to Colombia and perform. It was Americans there. I didn't hang out with the Americans, I hang out with the Colombians. I wanted to see the culture. So in Cayman, we need to be proud of our culture and say, if you're coming here, you must understand. I hear people telling me.
I'm proud of the culture. That's for sure.
I hear people telling me that we are here and you should understand our culture is 175 different ones. What do we do?
If you want to know why that I still have Cayman in my heart, it's all my life thing, even though I had a life somewhere else. It was my teenage years here that I learned everything. So my bringing up was here. And in Canada, I was always regarded as somebody different, because the rock and roll and the blues as a musician didn't appeal to me. I was into reggae and even some calypso, some island songs. That's what if you go on my Facebook now, just since I've been here, I recorded some song with my phone. I have about 10 of them. I even sang Cayman Moon. And I got comments. And Gary Ebanks, saxophone player, he lived 10 minutes from my house. We play music together. Each week we see each week.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to have what you could say, Doucette Ebanks collaboration in Canada, which is a great thing for me,
Yeah.
But Dwayne, again, I don't want it to sound like Caymanians are only people that born here. You have some wonderful people that came here, are now Caymanians, got status, really have the island at their heart. There's some only come here for money, and I don't have a problem with that, but don't try to change.
You have Caymanians abroad.
That don't try to change our culture. I mean, I just say this was an English lawyer that hit my car, and he came here, and it was his fault. And we ended up phoning each other and say, Darrell, I am leaving the island. I came here with my family and my children because of the people of the Cayman Islands. It has changed so much. I am leaving. I lost contact with him. He left the island. And when I go to the beach just about every day for lunch, just to meet people. I can tell you, tourists are crying. We're not seeing the culture. We're not seeing the people. Some of them will say, listen, I just want to thank you. It's a privilege for you taking your time and talk to us, because our ads overseas about Cayman, and when they come to Cayman, it's two different things.
Yeah, I'll pick up that.
Do you know Bob Marley's song, Africa Unite?
Yeah.
Well, me, it's Caymanians Unite.
Okay, so how do we do that, man?
Because if you sell all your land, you're going to lose all your land. And then it's too late.
Yeah. I know you're traveling back shortly, right? And this is why I'm so grateful that you will share, because you've seen over the 50 years.
I've seen many changes. It's my fourth trip now since 2005 here.
Yeah.
So in 2005, I was in a shock.
Yes.
And then I came back in 2009. Okay, a little more. I came in 2011, Triple C reunion.
Yeah.
Whoa. And now, 2024. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but.
So what do we do then? Because the thing is, and Daryl alluded to it, and we all asking the question, right?
It's hard to say what to do. What is the solution? I don't know what is the solution because it's the same thing in Canada. You cannot stop that somehow. But hopefully, like you say, keep your culture.
Yeah. So like with that then, right? Something Daryl has said that prompts me to ask. There are those who come here and as they touch down, there's this acclimation, this assimilation. There's just this thing, right? And you can feel it as you meet them, embrace them in some way. And then there are others, and I say this consciously and deliberately for two reasons. One, the lady that introduced me to it with such, a sense of consciousness makes it resonate even more profoundly. And secondly, for one of the first times in my life, I want it to be something that pricks people to think. Mm-hmm. She refers to a number of people, not by name, just by action, as being carpetbaggers, right? And she points to examples of similar things in other parts. But she says in the Cayman context, we can't have these people who extract and they make everybody look bad when around us, right? We see so many good. If you don't mind, Daniel, I use you as an example. Here's someone who may be physically absent from Cayman, but as Daryl shared, your heart and your love is still here, right?
For sure, man.
Speaking to you on the phone the other day when Ray and I interviewed you, and speaking to you in person today, the only difference is that the love is that much more evident. So what separates the wonderful people who like yourselves, and thankfully there are more of them, who see this great thing, from the others who only see, I don't know, is it the avarice, the greed? I mean, what is
That's a good question, but I can maybe answer that saying that, if you're losing your culture in Quebec, where it's a French-speaking province, we're losing our culture too. We're losing our language, and we're making laws to people that come in from the outside, the foreigners, so that they go to a French school, whether they like it or not. They have to make a law. Here, it's not the language thing, but just the same. To really.
So let me ask you to expand on that, because I don't think many of us understand that what we see happen in the Cayman, the cry and the hue. Now, for me, it's not just from Caymanians, whether generation or otherwise. It's from people who saying, "But hey, wait a minute, something's happening." In Quebec, we see it in the UK. We see it amongst the Swiss who's saying, "But wait a minute, you coming in." So we're seeing this thing. And for some, we're allowing terms like xenophobia to be put out there with such a disrespectful tone. In Quebec, if you're looking at it and understanding, but we need to protect, promote, and preserve what we have.
Exactly.
How is it that we can't see that in Cayman and understand that cry is as loud in some quarters from those who have only been here for decades as it is from those who've been here for generations?
We get a lot of cries here. But Caymanians are scared to speak up. They feel like if I speak up, I'm stupid or something like that. They feel guilty.
That's why I say Caymanians have to unite somehow.
Yeah. And by the way, some of my best friends that I have, they're not born Caymanians. I wouldn't call his last name, but Steve, a white guy from the United States. I walked with him at the gym. I was walking at the gym, and Edward Solomon was walking with me, and Edward Solomon fell down. I was a distance from him.
Yes.
Steve picked him up. He took his hand and rubbed all the sun off his leg. Blood was on Steve's hands. Steve took his water bottle, gave Edward Solomon something to drink out of it. I said, man, this guy. So I started walking with him. He started telling me about some stories coming to the Cayman Islands. If you want a true Caymanian, you check Steve. And he came from America. So we have some good people came here that are Caymanians. But we're suffering. People complain. You call a restaurant. You have to repeat yourself 5 times because you can't understand what they're saying. And it's a tourist restaurant. It's crazy.
So let's hear, Daniel, I mean, because the problems are not unique, particularly to Cayman. Tell me, because, I mean, there's a part of me that is questioning.
I've met some people here on this trip. I met Caymanians, but I met Jamaicans. I met Filipinos.
Everybody from everywhere, right?
They were all nice.
Yeah.
But I cannot say they were not nice. They were all beautiful people,
Yeah.
But, even music-wise, everywhere I went, I didn't hear much island music anywhere. I thought, what's going on? You know, where's the barefoot guy? You know, I saw him, but I mean, where's that kind of music? You know, when you come to an island in the Caribbean, you need. I don't need to hear, I don't know, AC/DC. Not that I don't like it, but I mean.
No, we don't just want to say barefoot, man. Also because we have Anna Martin, have songs with Mr. Dalmain. You had songs by the Beach Boys from Kim and Brock. Some of those guys still living. You have a lot of other musicians that's recording here that tourists want to hear. Some of the music, do I like it? No, but tourists want to hear it. So I'm not telling anyone what to record.
No, that's what
we need to focus on that.
Indeed. I'll give you a little thing there. I went to a little shop, souvenir shop here in Georgetown, where the fountain is. And I walked in there, and there was a Gregory Isaac song playing. I said, finally, a song. So there was a gentleman there. He was not Cayman. I think he was British or something. I said, wow, do you have some good music here? And he wasn't paying no attention. He didn't know what this was.
Yeah.
I said, it's reggae music. I said, you know Bob Marley? He said, who? I said, he likes Led Zeppelin. I said, how long you been living here? He said, 30 years.
Yeah.
He didn't know what's around him. I don't know.
Yeah. But after traveling a lot, I have traveled. I mean, one time I was leaving Cayman once a week, coming back next week. I did that for about 3 months. So I've traveled intensively at places, but I find that until we come together and realize that our culture is special, same as any place else. And talking about people complaining, some of my good Jamaica friends are telling me that the Chinese are taking over Jamaica, you know, and they're crying too. So this cry is all over, not just Cayman. But we feel if we cry that we're prejudiced, we're not prejudiced. We're just saying the same cry that you're doing for your country, we were doing for ours.
Well, the prejudice thing that you're talking about in Quebec, because we're French speaking and we try to protect our French language, people call us racist. What is that?
In your country, promoting your...
Yeah.
All right. And see, that is, I think, what is being, unfortunately, in the Cayman context, deliberately, consciously used to malign even the people like yourself who say, hey, preserve your culture, recognize what you're losing. We got a break to take. Daniel, if I might, because Daniel, in your absence, Dal will join us again another time, right? But I want to ask you to share with us, as profoundly as you want. I don't think anybody listening going to take what you share in a way that isn't one of love and respect, right? So I want you to share with us when we come back from the break.
Okay.
Can we do that? Thanks to Paul. We'll take the break when we come back.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
It's Digicel's 20th birthday bash, and you're invited. We are giving away 20 phones for 20 years. Win an iPhone or a Samsung smartphone as part of our anniversary celebration. Simply spend $20 or more at Digicel or be an active postpaid customer, and you could be our lucky winner. It's our way of saying thank you for 20 incredible years of connection and support from our amazing customers like you. Don't miss out on this epic celebration. Go to your nearest Digicel store today and join the party. Digicel, better connected.
Shop the Brand Source Home Gallery Senior Citizen Sale.
In honor of our seniors, Brand Source Home Gallery is offering a 15% discount now until April 6 on appliances, mattresses, plumbing and bath fixtures, lighting, ceiling fans, kitchen cabinets, custom closets, and more. And I heard right, 15% off store-wide.
If you are over the age of 60, you can purchase for your family and friends. Just show your ID. It's that easy to save 15% with the Brand Source Home Gallery Senior Citizen Sale. Visit Brand Source on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, or call 623-5000 for details.
On Saturday, March 23rd, get ready for the end of spring biggest event for the grown and sexy. It's the annual Springfest 2024 at the Mango Tree, featuring Lord Laro. Lord Laro. Lord Laro, performing live at the Mango Tree, alongside, for the first time in Cayman, Judy Boucher.
So please understand my situation.
Judy Boucher.
Tears on my pillow, pain in my heart.
Judy Boucher.
I've been trying to get over you.
Yeah, that's right. Get your tickets now. This is a limited seating event. It's the annual Springfest 2024 featuring Lord Laro. And for the first time, Judy Boucher on Saturday, March 23rd, Mango Tree. Tickets are $35 pre-sold and $45 at the gate. VIP tables are available. Call 916-7667 for more info. Purchase your tickets at the Mango Tree or get them online at CaymanEvents.co.
This is Eliane Powery, Miss Universe Cayman Islands 2023. I am concerned that our beloved islands are at a high risk of losing plants and animals that are only found here. Warmer temperatures, drought, and other changes are harming our unique species and the habitats they depend on. Losing biodiversity means losing the benefits that nature provides, like clean air and water. To learn more about the climate risk to our islands, visit www.gov.ky/climate change policy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and thanks too to not just our Lakers. I say this seriously because I love this place. I mean, there's no our conversations the other day in the shop.
And my song is say, other than heaven, I'm here to stay.
Yeah. And for reaching out and saying, hey, Daniel Doucette is here, let's chat. Daniel, I'm hoping that there's one thing to be passionate about the place. There's one thing to be very, very willing to do something. And then there's a difference between just talk and action, right? We have the benefit of, you said it. So I think for me as a company, you've had a 50-year sort of opportunity to look back. And there's only a few minutes of our discussion for today, but tell us where we are and what we should look out for and maybe what we can be doing. I mean, I asked the questions before the break because this is real. The next generation depends on it, but us today require it.
I don't know what could be done. I really don't know what could be done. I can only say what I see and what I feel, that I still love the Cayman Islands. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
The Caymanian people. I can only wish the best and the decisions that we'll be making here from the people, from the government, from the constructor, the whatever, the schools, everything as a society. And that, it's such a beautiful place here.
Yeah, man.
You don't want to spoil it. Where's, the island that time forgot? What happened to that?
Do you think, right, that the people, and I say this deliberately to challenge us who call ourselves Caymania, however that's defined, right?
Right.
Do you think it's us who are not seeing, respecting, recognizing that, because like Darrell shared.
I don't think so.
You think we see it?
I think
Okay.
Caymanian people see it.
Okay.
But the investors, or my father was a banker. You know how many people he tried to come here to invest. He probably started, a lot of putting Cayman on the map, and not only him, but I'm saying too over the years. But no, like I say, Cayman Island, Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac. Hopefully Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, they would hold. The
I hear siege in there too. I haven't been here a long
Yeah.
time.
But it's so small, 20 miles long. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
You can't.
Can I share this with one of our listeners, saying that we got to invest more in our biggest asset, our people and our culture, right? But this piece says, fear prevents us from standing up, speaking out, and demanding what is ours.
Agreed.
Fear of what? Fear of whom? I mean, you like to talk, but let's ask, if you might.
Fair of what? What's fair? What's fair?
Okay, so
respect. I don't know.
In Quebec, right? We've seen the legislation. We've seen the push. We've even heard, and I'm only as a student of history. Those in Quebec want to create their own country.
Yeah, sometimes you hear about that, and that's scaring a lot of people that are not the French people.
Yeah, but for us in Cayman to see that this thing that we're feeling now is a thing that is being felt globally by not just those small nations, but even larger people with tens of millions, right? In Quebec, there's a courage, a conviction, a consciousness to pass legislation, to implement laws and policies, whatever, right?
Exactly.
You're doing that.
Exactly.
Why are you doing that, and why are we not doing it?
Well, why are we doing that? I guess is to protect our own thing, protect our heritage, protect our language, protect our country. Why it's not being done here? I don't know. You have to talk to government people or something. Are they sleeping? I don't know if they're sleeping. I don't know. I don't know them personally.
Yeah.
And I can only wish the best to the Cayman people. That I love them dearly.
Yeah, man.
And I please take care of things. Take care of things the right way.
Yeah, man.
The right way for real, man.
For those who, for real,
find the right road, the right purpose of things.
And
money is not answer to everything in life.
Yep.
Yeah. You need money to live because it's expensive, but it can't be just.
Well, just before we wrap up, this is my personal opinion. Anyone that's running for politics, I would not go to their meetings. I will look at their last 4 years. Because when you go to meetings, some good politicians, some honest politicians, but you will hear a lot of things, and then after a year, you don't hear about it. So don't go to the meetings. Me personally, of someone that's going to rerun for the Cayman Islands, look at their last 4 years, and if that can't tell you anything, the speech on the stage is not going to tell you. And I will finish with this. I meet a lot of people that come to the Cayman Islands that really care and love the Cayman Islands. They will cry to me, English, Jamaicans, from wherever. And they will say, because you are grassroots Caymanian, you need to speak up. But I'm telling you all that came here and this is your home, you all need to realize that you're Caymanians too and speak up. We're all Caymanians, speak up, because if you don't know, the same problem my children, their children, and their children have is the same problems yours will have. So get up and stand up and let's do this thing together in love, peace, and joy, and our friendliness, but be bold with your speech.
And just say Caymanians unite, right?
One love to all, man.
Yeah, man.
One love to all.
This closes, this listener says, hope I'm coming across in the right concept, but agreeing with what Daniel said, it is the investors, right? But I'm a grassroots Caymanian, but some of our own Caymanians are allowing investors to dictate the changes we're having. And maybe that is the resounding chord. We want these things that are positive, but they need to be a word that has probably become a cliche, sustainable.
Someone told me this week that all these buildings that are coming up, whatever, these planning of buildings designed by other people other than Caymanians, but somehow they're finally approved by Caymanians.
That is it, man. We're supposed to... Daniel, have a safe trip back.
Thank you, brother.
You are only about a phone call away.
Yes.
But if you're ever in the vicinity, We would like to hear from you, and hopefully more of your music will come out on the road.
Everything is on Amazon and Spotify if you want to hear.
And by the way, him and I go on the beach to speak to tourists. And when we go there, he's not a Canadian, I'm a Caymanian. We go out there as Caymanians.
Two friends, man.
I'm more Caymanian than you.
I'll leave that one alone.
Yeah, leave that one alone. Leave that one alone.
Listen, thank you very much. And I'm hoping that what both of you shared, especially Daria's last point, we are here. This is our place. This is our space. Let's come together because what affects us positively and negatively will impact us.
True.
Thank you for your time. Right?
Thank you very much.
All right, to our listeners, after the news break, we're going to tell you about a hospitality training program that's putting on. 2 weeks or so remaining, so join us after the break.
Covering Little Cayman Bride.
Cover me. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. A robbery this past Sunday is under investigation. A man was robbed and injured by two men and a woman on Fort Street in Georgetown. Anyone with information is being encouraged to call the Georgetown Police Station at 949-4222. In international news, Ethiopia's biggest commercial bank is scrambling to recoup large sums of money withdrawn by customers after a systems glitch. The customers discovered early on Saturday that they could take out more cash than they had in their accounts at the Commercial Bank of Ethiopia. More than $40 million US was withdrawn or transferred to other banks, local media reported. It took several hours for the institution to freeze transactions. The first flying taxi could take off in the UK by 2026 and become a regular sight in our skies 2 years later if a government announcement goes to plan. The Future of Flight Action Plan developed with the aerospace industry also says drones and other flying vehicles will become more autonomous. It predicts that the first pilotless flying taxi will take off in 2030. But experts say hurdles such as infrastructure and public acceptance need to be overcome first. There are a number of different models, but most flying taxis look like a futuristic helicopter and can usually carry about 5 people. The technology for them exists now, but it is likely that the aircraft will start off as exclusive modes of transport, replacing expensive journeys currently done by helicopters. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Radio Cayman Talk Today continues.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And I think, as most people share, if you don't know where you're going in, the road will take you there. And I'm so glad that we have a path charted for us. We just need to be willing to get on board. Sometimes we're the driver, sometimes we're the passenger, sometimes we're paying the fare, and other times, we're just fearful of paying. Miss Diane Conlon, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. So good to be here.
That is mi amigo. I am excited. I'm also very pensive, and at times today a bit concerned because so much is happening that at times we don't really appreciate what is unfolding before us. And if we can look at and see potential, find ways to invite and include and have people accept opportunities, today's seed that is planted might bear great fruit in decades. But it first has to be planted, watered, nurtured, right?
That is correct.
So let's plant the seed because one day I want to reap the harvest. So training, I think, is key. Tell us about where we are and how we can be a part of it.
Definitely. The DART Hospitality Training Program is geared towards Caymanians between the ages of 17 and 30 who are interested in a career in hospitality. This training program is quite different in that it combines both theory and practical. So we actually have partnered with Lynn University, an accredited university in the U.S., and they facilitate the first 2 weeks of training, which is geared towards what is hospitality, workforce skills,
So those first 2 weeks on island or at the campus?
On island, so they
Okay.
come here and deliver the training.
Well, thank you for bringing along Miss Destiny. You want to introduce her to our listeners and they have her jump in?
Sure. With us here today is Destiny Russell. She was in the last cohort, which finished last year. And she was fortunate enough to be one of them that was offered a position at the end of the training.
Okay. Welcome, Destiny. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. How are we doing?
All right. And it doesn't matter sometimes how old we are. And perhaps if it will help you to feel comfortable. I know individuals, and I would want one day for them to publicly share, because sometimes we think that our nerves and jitters and that sense of trepidation that we have is only because we're adolescents or we're in our 20s. But these are people who are in their 50s plus, who either A, change from one career to another. The accountant has become the lawyer, or the individual in one sector now has become a parliamentarian. That thing that you do for the first time, there's a learning curve, and there's a sense of nervousness, for want of a better word. What made you want to get into hospitality? I mean, what inspired you?
My initial interest in hospitality was because I wanted to try something new. I'm big into new challenges and into challenging myself. And so I saw the hospitality program, and I was already actually working when I saw the hospitality program. But I decided that I wanted to challenge myself a bit more.
Awesome.
And I signed up for it, and I said, let's see how this goes. And I was kind of shocked that I got accepted, but I'm very grateful at the same time.
Yeah.
But mainly to have a new experience and to really challenge myself with more.
If I might, and I think, Mr. Conley will tell you that I'm one of them people that I learn not only by doing, but by observing and asking. You and I both have had different career interests and adjustments to our career path. Can we put it that way?
That is correct.
And the challenges, sometimes they're welcome, sometimes they're intimidating. I never thought I would ever, I can say this publicly, Miss Norma tell you, had no interest in being on the radio. I like to listen to the radio. This was not something I ever wanted to. I should have avoided it. But here we are. You, Miss Diane, you're a natural trainer and leader. I mean, that's just who you are. So how do we then get the people who are listening? You say 17 to 30-year-olds, right? Whether they are not quite sure what they want to do, or whether they're in the sector and they say, you know what, how can I do better?
Well, one of the things about this program as well is that after the 2 weeks, we do a week of tourism immersion, in that they start learning more about the tourism product so that they can better sell that to the guests. But they also then do 6 weeks hands-on in different roles. 4 weeks first going around to the different hotels. So it's the Ritz-Carlton, Grand Cayman, the Kimpton Seafire, and the Hampton by Hilton. This year we hope to have Hotel Indigo towards the latter part of the year available. But they get to experience each one of the hotels and also various roles within the hotel. And a lot of them have come back and said, I didn't realize that there was a position like this. Or my interests, I can see I'm really interested in this area.
And I think you need to be commended for that. So to you, Ms. Destiny, I know just generally, whether it's the financial services or banks in particular, or whether it's like, say, the utility company here, other organizations have, in whatever form it's termed, it's sort of a management trainee program. They bring somebody in at a particular level, a college grad, maybe a new entry from, just out of school, and say, listen, what are you interested in? Move them around for weeks or months at a time for them to get a feel. For you, as Ms. Conley shared, the similar thing, how has that been beneficial to you? And which areas that you were sort of introduced to during that time period?
The areas that I was interested in?
Yeah, and which ones you got to experience?
Well, when I first started, I was always interested in being able to help people. And being able to interact with people as well. And as I was in the program, that's when I found concierge. Concierge has to do with telling people about our island and giving them all the information they need, helping them with reservations. And I actually, before that, I didn't really know that that was like a common thing in hospitality.
Isn't that interesting, right? Here we are. Is it that we as parents and educators and even parliamentarians and policymakers believing that people know, but the concierge, whatever that term is and whatever that is, the guests come in, and many of us traveling will go to, let's stop at this hotel and ask, where's the restaurant? We don't need to be there. That's an information resource. But yet, Ms. Diane, Destin said, I didn't even know that. Mm-hmm. How could, in a tourism sort of based economy, people don't know that? Yet, it's a very lucrative, very important, people-facing part of the organization.
Definitely, and we would like to have more young Caymanians understand that this hospitality is quite diverse. Mm-hmm. It's not the typical just food server or housekeeping, but there's so many other roles that young Caymanians can enter into.
Can I ask, and this is not to put you anybody on the spot, it's just a question inspired by what Ms. Destin shared. There's a perception, whether it's by us from what we've created in our homes, by us from what may be shared inadvertently in our schools, or just generally, that Caymanians will have an interest in hospitality, but more important, things like concierge, there isn't a space for us. Yet, those are our people. I see a smile from Miss Destiny. And you can jump in if you want. You don't have to, but you're welcome to. Sometimes, what does the scripture says, anyway, let me leave that alone. To you, Miss Conley, if you wish.
I think awareness is very important. It's one of the areas we are also trying to highlight here is bringing more awareness to the various roles within hospitality. So you will see us attending and going to the schools and speaking to those that are doing hospitality, sharing a little bit more about career pathways.
So would we be able then in our schools to say to that school leaver or even that young individual, talking 17 to 30, I remember when I was 17, I think, and I probably don't, that was so long ago. Hey, you can be the concierge, you can be the CEO, you can be the maitre d', or you can, be anything in the organization. Are we telling them, of all the potential avenues that are available? Not that you're going to start overnight or that you get there, but they become aware of it?
They become aware of it. They are all got projects, actually, for their cohort where they had to look into various roles and what was the pay like, what was the work hours like, and so they got to each share the different roles. I think one of them that they were quite taken back at was how much work was done by housekeeping.
I'm glad that I spent those days there. Do you want to share something, Ms. Destiny?
Yes, with housekeeping, I actually myself, I had a little knowledge of it because my mom is in housekeeping. But when it came to like the housekeepers themselves, I only had the inspection aspect. But the housekeepers do quite a lot. They don't just clean rooms. There's a lot of different departments that I didn't realize in housekeeping. It's a very vast majority and a very huge team that they need to be able to upkeep with housekeeping and laundry, all kinds of different things. They have to do a lot.
It's so key, right? Because end of the day, no matter how much fun you had, how wonderful the food was, wherever you ate, end of the night you want to take a shower and sleep in a clean bed. And that's the thing that's going to make your day great and your next day more exciting. Before we take the break, can I ask, this listener writes that, to some extent, potentially there's a stigma to working in the hospitality sector. Do you think that there is a stigma from Caymanians in that perspective?
I think over the years we've talked about it. Just the input that we've gotten and applications from Caymanians is a testament that people are looking at it as a career pathway, and they're open to the various roles within hospitality.
Okay. Now I'm going to question, make sure I can confirm. Do we take this call, sir, or we take the break first? Now, you see, I'm not in charge, right? I never said I was. I just reflected I'm not. We're going to pause. We'll take a break. The call is there. We will answer it right after we come back. Please stay tuned.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Has the circus come to town? No, it's A.L. Thompson's 2-week blowout sale. From March 15 through March 30, get under the huge tent outside A.L. Thompson's to save big. Save up to 75% on lighting, electrical, plumbing, paint, and hardware. Save up to 75% on housewares, building materials, and the ever-popular scratch and dent appliances. Take advantage of this savings while they last. It's March blowout under the tent at A.L. Thompson's, Georgetown.
The Hurley's Explore Easter Egg Hunt is on. Count, shop, and win. Release your inner child and have some fun with us. Find the Explore Eggs hidden in store at Hurley's. Count the eggs and enter at checkout. Prizes are valued at over $1,500, and the grand prize is a 2-night stay in Little Cayman, including flights and accommodation. Hurley's Max members get double entries. Hurley's, where every purchase is an adventure.
The Ministry of Education invites eligible Caymanians to apply for a local scholarship for the 2024-2025 academic year. To apply for a local scholarship or learn more about the various scholarship offerings, please visit the Scholarship Secretariat Unit's website at www.moescholarships.gov.ky. Applications close on Tuesday, 30th of April, 2024. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks to Miss Dan Conley coming on and we're sharing about the Dart Hospitality training program and to bringing on Miss Destiny Russell. Ladies, before we continue the discussion, I'm told we have a caller joining us. I haven't had lunch, so I'm kind of hoping this might be a teaser, but let's see. Hey, welcome. Thanks for holding on during the break. Thanks for calling.
Oh, good afternoon. How are you?
Excellent. How are you today?
I'm not going to tease you because I think I'm calling at the wrong time. I think the topic is not what I wanted today. I mean, not say what I wanted, but
okay.
I was trying to follow up on that Bosun Bay Road.
Okay.
I would try to get hold to the North representative, West Bay North, but apparently I left a message and call, and I haven't gotten a return because they said you had to speak to him.
Yeah.
But I'm from West Bay West, so
yeah, man.
That's why we got a 1-man, 1 vote. They're legal now. They can run you up and down like a fool now.
All right. Well, let me send a message. Just saying that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you too.
Okay.
Thanks. And to that caller, this is probably one of the beautiful things of being in Cayman and being on Radio Cayman. We can get a message out. And I think through you, Ms. Diane, here's a hospitality training program. Tell us a little bit in the closing moments. Is it ongoing? Has it started? When does it start? How do we start it? Where is it at? I mean,
definitely.
Remind us.
The deadline for applications is the 29th of March. Persons interested can go online to dart.ky/hospitality, and they can apply right there online. The program actually starts the 13th of May, so a little period of time from closing off to when it starts, but then it runs for 3 months.
Okay, so it's a 3-month program. 13th of May, all right? Is it a full-time program? Can I be working, just for argument's sake, I'm working somewhere and I have an interest in it, or is it for people who are not working? How does it work?
It is a full-time program.
Okay.
So pretty much every day they are working from 9 to 4.
Okay, so, and it's only for the 17-year-old to the 30-year-old.
Yes.
You think I could pull off being 30?
Yeah. We can work on that.
I could. That's but that's that area where, you know, you're just about out of high school. You may be working somewhere. You may be. What would you say, Ms. Destiny, to that point? I mean, there are young people who are working somewhere, but we're not quite sure that's where they want to be.
Well, I can agree with them because I've been in that position myself.
Yeah.
Right now I'm 19, turning 20 this year. I still don't know what exactly I want to do. I definitely want to be around people, and I definitely want to be doing something as a service to people, but I just don't know what exactly that is.
Yeah.
And right now I'm studying as well. So to say to those people who are struggling with the same thing, I would say right now, if you're still in that feeling that you don't know what you want, try to learn about adaptability. Because that in the program helped me a lot, when you can just be able to try different things and just say, I can do this. Even though I might not be sure what I want right now, let me try this and see what's up with it. Like, be more open-minded to a lot of different things.
Miss Diane, if I could pick up on what Destiny shared, there were two things that immediately jumps out. Not many of us, even at 50 or 90, we're not always quite sure that we know what we want to do or that we were doing the thing we wanted, but we did it. So there's no shame, and at least I don't think so, and not really, I haven't found my calling.
Yeah, and it opens doors for you, you know.
Right.
You never just stay in one area. As you grow, you'll end up going in different fields. But I think for them especially, it gave them the opportunity to really try out and say, you know what, I didn't know that bartending could be so much fun.
Okay. And that's the second thing. You know, she says she's still in school, but as a concierge, from my perspective, you got to have marketing, you got to have a little bit of psychology. You got to learn about a lot of things because you're dealing with people and you got to be thinking on your feet and they're asking you stuff. Right, Miss Destiny? I mean, you're just not...
All the time.
All the time, right? So with that in mind, and as our young people are thinking of hospitality, there's still opportunities for education for as our young people who have perhaps at UCCI, maybe they've finished their degree in something.
We actually, quite a few of them in the program are attending college at the same time. So most of the hotels do adapt their schedule so that they can accommodate their
And this is, I gather, then an industry where you have the academic training, whatever that looks like, but there's also the hands-on. I mean, working in housekeeping, for instance, you can make a bed, but then you need to know how to make a bed. And I did that, and trust me, it's not as easy as it looks. And it's not just with hospital corners, right?
Yes, and the same thing we say, a lot of people who apply want front desk.
Yeah.
And we, have to explain front desk is more than just sitting at the front. There's a lot that goes on and coordination with.
I didn't want front desk.
Me either. No. But even that though, you could be a student who's graduated a degree in accounting or law, or in some other aspects of finance, or in other areas, and you don't have to just be pigeonholed and say, in the accounting section, or in the HR section. Right, Ms. Destiny? You could move across the divide.
Yes, I'm currently studying right now for social sciences, and I think after that I want to look into business administration. So it's very diverse, and moving around in different areas is basically the main thing for me. And you can definitely do that in hospitality. So.
Yeah. And we did have one or two who went away to university already. So one of them, for instance, Kiana, she just came back with her degree in pastry. So she is now one of the pastry cooks and utilizing that degree and the skills and knowledge that she has gained.
Well, I'm hoping that as we look at, the opportunities that are available, we not only see the financial reward, I got a good paycheck, but we see other opportunities, and we see ourselves as something that maybe we have said in the past without appreciating. We're ambassadors. People come in. The Cayman context is what it is. There's 100,000 people. There are 5,000 Caymanians. I think there should be a law that we should all travel on the plane together, just like the royal family. That take separate flights. My joke for today. But as we close out the discussion, I want to ask you, Destiny, to share as you wish, and then of course Diane remind us how we can apply and is there a cost, what's involved. But what would you say to other young people like yourselves, who are not sure what they are, maybe they're in the sector now, but they're not. What would you say to them about the program and how to be a part of it?
I would tell them to join. It's a very good opportunity because not only do you get to be there and you're studying and learning new things about hospitality, and you're also doing hands-on experience. At least from my experience, I was doing quite a lot of different things that I never thought I would do, which is as a Caymanian, I live under a rock. So there's a lot of things that I haven't done and that you learn a lot about. And even for people who've already experienced it, I believe it's good for them to get into that because it helps you learn more about the people in Cayman, helps you learn more about how we service people, seeing that tourism is one of our main sources of income. I believe Caymanians should have more knowledge about that.
Yeah, and see the opportunities, right?
Yes.
And knowing is empowering. Is that?
Well, I would invite anyone who's interested to apply as soon as possible. There are only 20 spaces that we're taking on this round. So go online, dart.ky/hospitality. The deadline for applications is the 29th of March, so it's fast approaching. There is no fee to sign up. This is a paid opportunity.
Well, let us know how we can help. I mean, you referenced that the deadline is just days away, so to speak. So if we can do that more, hopefully more people will see the importance. Maybe other organizations will see an example that they can help to train, to nurture, not just internships, but upward mobility. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, good that you've found somewhere, and I hope that it brings you a great reward.
Thank you.
All right. We invite you all to be a part of what unfolds today and make it as constructive and productive so that tomorrow has the promise and potential of a day that is positioned to bring much, greatness to you. Until then, my friends, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6